Good morning. I hope you've been having a good week. It's Friday, September 11th, and as I say that, I bet most of you know exactly where you were on this date 19 years ago. It's a day for reflection, and prayer, and remembering. Listen to this quote. In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. I simply can't build up my hopes on a foundation consisting of confusion, misery, and death. I see the world being slowly transformed into a wilderness. I hear the approaching thunder that one day will destroy us too. I feel the suffering of millions. And yet, when I look up at the sky, I somehow feel that everything will change for the better, that this cruelty too shall end, that peace and tranquility will return once more. You know who wrote that? Anne Frank. And a short while after writing this, her family was discovered and deported to a concentration camp where they all died. And when I read that quote, I couldn't get it out of my head. Here was this young girl hiding with her family in an attic for like 2 years from the Nazis. And even though she knew all the horrific things they were doing, as she looked up to the heavens, she believed things would work out and that peace would return. And this gave her hope and allowed her, in the midst of such awful circumstances, to still live life to the fullest possible as she hid out in that attic. 19 years ago today, on a perfect September morning, terrorists attacked our country and thousands perished, and our hearts broke for all those who died and who lost loved ones. People who the night before were probably with their families and friends and co-workers, also living life to the fullest. And for a while, it seemed as if life would never be normal again. We would never feel safe, secure. We'd always be looking around, wondering if that person is a terrorist carrying a bomb. And our country once again found itself at war. Yet, in the days and weeks that followed, we came together as a country. We realized our nation had been invaded, and we knew we had to do all we could to protect ourselves and others. And I felt a surge of patriotism, unity, love for this country like I never did before or since. Flash forward, and here we are, invaded once again by a different kind of enemy. This time, it's a coronavirus, and we find ourselves for the last 6 months living in fear and uncertainty. But this time, rather than coming together and doing what we can to fight this deadly virus, what we see is a lot of anger, complaining, fighting, blaming, and looking for reasons to criticize and divide us as a country. And I just don't understand why. We know this is a very contagious and deadly virus, and it's been awful, really awful for so many, not to mention the over 190,000 Americans who have died from this virus. Yet, in the midst of all the sadness, hostility, and hardship, I hear stories and see people doing wonderful things. I read about the hope and compassion that people have expressed to one another. I see people reaching out and offering a hand to their neighbors. I see love in action. And as I too look at the heavens, I see the stars that have been held in place by the sure, strong hands of God for thousands of years, through wars, tragedies, sadness, and disasters of every kind. And yet not one year of our history, even this one, has shaken the power or control of God. I look at the beauty as night gives way to dawn, and I can't help but think that with each new day we are given, there comes with it hope, new hope for me and you, and the chance once again to live that day to the fullest. Because as people of faith, we know that no matter what we go through, there is someone watching out for us. And because of that, like Anne Frank, even in the worst of circumstances, we can have hope that things will get better. In fact, listen to these words of Paul. We are pressed on every side by troubles, but we're not crushed. We are perplexed, but not driven to despair. We are hunted down, but never abandoned by God. We get knocked down, but we're not destroyed. That verse from 2 Corinthians reminds me that none of us are exempt from the struggles of life. None of us know from one moment to the next what will happen. But we know who does. And I can look back and see the constant faithfulness of God every day, every year, through it all, even now. And it's that very same God who'll be with you every step of your journey as well. So, my friends, in this crazy time we find ourselves in, as we remember those we lost on 9/11 and pray for those whose lives were forever changed on that day, I encourage you to keep looking up to the heavens too. Look for the good. Try and see the blessings, not just the challenges. Believe in the God who created you and wants you to live life to the fullest, regardless of what you're going through. Today, that's what I'm going to do. Now continue to wear your masks. Wash your hands, socially distance yourself when you are out and about. Stay hopeful and keep trusting in God. We will make it. Love you. God bless you. Peace.